Hi folks, this is Crimson. Welcome to another video. In this video, I'd like to walk you through the startup procedure for the C-130, and we'll also do the pre-taxi preparation. And then in a future video, we'll do takeoff, taxi and takeoff. In a previous video, I showed you the various stations and just familiarized you with the aircraft overall. This is a free module from Anubis. It's you download it. There's pretty straightforward instructions, and it is quite fantastic. I am obsessed with this module. I spent a lot of time with it. There isn't a lot of great documentation out there, and not a lot of tutorials, so I figured I would impart my experience upon you, maybe unblock you from getting started with this aircraft. I've done a lot, clicked around, experimented, and I think learned a lot, and I want to share that with you. So I'm sitting in the dark C-130 at a ramp start, and I did this because I also want to highlight the aircraft lighting and some of the other features of this module, which are awesome. And so we're in the dark, we're in Syria, using the Syria map, and we're in the cockpit seat, the captain's seat, pilot seat. There's 4 stations: cockpit, co-pilot, the loadmaster, and the cargo ramp station. So we'll walk through each of those. Each one is going to be critical as we get this bird started up. So the first thing I want to talk about is this. I've done a lot of research. Look, I'm a private pilot. I fly Cessnas. The most complex aircraft I've ever flown is a 182, Cessna 182 Skylane. So I'm not familiar with the multi-engine aircraft. I don't know a lot about it, but the startup procedure for this seems to be pretty straightforward, and so I'll walk you through that. The cool thing about this is that in the actual C-130, I've done some research. It looks like you can do ground power and you can do battery option. And I've experimented with the ground power option here, and it actually works pretty well. And we'll walk through that in a minute. In fact, why don't we go ahead and kick this off? First of all, this module has a flashlight like the Hornet and some others. So if you go left Alt Lima, left Alt L, and we got the flashlight working. So the next thing we're going to do, you can see we can walk around the cockpit, just view around the cockpit here. So we've got our electrical presentation here. I'm going to go ahead and connect to ground power. I'll show you how that works. So we'll talk to the ground crew, and we'll say ground electric power on. Turn on the ground power.
Copy.
And we should see a little green light come up here indicating that the ground power is enabled.
Power is now on.
And you can see that right there. So I'm going to flip this over to external power. Now, I found that you can't just run everything off this external power without turning the battery on. So I'm going to right click and enable the battery. So with the little thing to show, with ground power enabled, you're getting 28 volts. This is pretty typical. You'll get 28 volts with the alternator, with the engines running, and you'll also get ground power at 28 volts. A typical airplane battery runs at about 24. So if I were to turn the external power off and just run off the battery, you'll see it'll drop to about 24 volts. So this is pretty realistic, actually, considering the aircraft electrical systems. So you got 24 volts running off the battery. If I switch over to external power, we'll bump that right back up to about 28. Like I said, pretty realistic. Now, the next thing you need to do is you need to go over here to the APU, and we're going to go ahead and set this to, we're going to right click, and we're going to hold start, 1001, 1002, that green light comes on, and so we're starting up. And this is the percent RPM of the APU. We're going to wait for that to get up to 100. All right, so we're at 100, and then we're going to go ahead and set the APU bleed air. We're going to open that. We're going to be at 40 pressure, and then we can start the engine start sequence. Now, the published engine start sequence for the C-130 in the Lockheed Martin POH, which I did look at. It was pretty complicated, but I did check it out, is 3-4-2-1 engine start. So we're going to go 3-4-2-1. So to start one of the engines, I'm going to zoom in here. You got the engine start panel. I am going to take engine 3, and I'm going to go run, and I'm going to hold that down to start. 1001, 1002, light up, 3, 4. I found about 4 seconds is good. Once that green light comes on, you need about 2 more seconds of hold to get that engine started. So we'll go external, and we'll double check our aircraft, and there we are. Engine 3 is spinning up. Very cool. Return to the cockpit. So next we'll go engine 4. So click on this, run and hold start, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, and release. So we're at run mode, engine 4. Let's double check that one. Yep, there's engine 4 spinning up. And I mean, the exterior of this aircraft is pretty nice. I mean, it's modeled pretty well. It's not quite as realistic and detailed as some of the other modules, but it's decent. And in different lighting conditions, you can see some of the detail. And you got the crew in there with the lights and everything else. So while this engine's spinning up, let's do one more. So we're going to go 2, engine 2. Hold that down, 1001, 1002, green light, 3, 4, and release. One of the things I want to show you is the internal lighting of the cockpit. So we're dark right now. There's a pilot lighting section here. Nothing's clickable. So the first thing is this display master, which manipulates the digital display, the glass cockpit. And if you spin this sucker, it really creates this horrible bright effect. I don't know if you would ever use this in real life. So I don't ever use it. Like, it's pretty clear in the dark the way it is. So I'm not going to mess with this. None of this is clickable except this dome lighting, which isn't really a dome lighting to my mind. It's actually the cockpit internal lighting. And if you spin this up, you can see that it has now lit up all of the internal buttons and knobs. And there's 2 modes. There's normal mode, which is right here. And if you left click, you got NVS. I'm assuming that's night vision mode. And that creates that green lighting, that green hue cockpit, which I actually quite enjoy in the evening. So we'll leave that on NW, let's see what it says, NVIS, night vision. But once again, you can switch that with the right click to normal, left click to night vision. Okay, I think we got one more engine to go. We've got engines 3, 4, and 2. We're going to spool up engine 1. So I'll hold that, 1001, 1002, boom, 3, and 4. Boom. There you go. So now our final engine is spinning up. I will take a look. Yep, there's engine 1. Spinning up and looking good. All right, so now that the engines are going, the next thing we need to do is close all of the doors and ramps and windows that are open in order to prepare for takeoff. So the first thing I'm going to do is within the cockpit, I don't know why I'm geeking out so much over this. This is pretty dang cool. These windows here, they open and close. So right click closes the window. Over here, right click closes the window. Left click opens the window. I don't know. That kind of detail is just, I'm geeking out. It's cool. It's fun. And then we've got the HUD glass here, 1 and 2. So if I left click on this, that's the co-pilot HUD, and I left click right here, that's the HUD for the pilot. So we got to get those set. So I've closed these windows and I got this set. Now, if you look externally, I've still got the crew right there, the crew door open. I've got the 2 parachute doors open. I've got the cargo and the ramp open, and this other parachute door here, it's hard to see in the dark. But anyway, we need to close those doors. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my Loadmaster station. This is looking forward at the flight deck. So I'm facing to the nose of the aircraft. To my left here is the crew door. Once again, if I look outside the plane, that's the crew entrance door right there. So I'm going back in, and I found the only way to get that shut is through the loadmaster position and to right-click that. Now that closes the crew door. Once again, if I go external, it's hard to see in the dark, but the crew door is actually closed. Okay. The other thing you can do at this station is you can shut the ramp behind me here, but we won't do that at this station. And then this is really cool, by the way. You can set the lighting of the cargo bay. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that on, and if you look back, you can see it's all lit up. Pretty amazing. I can shut the lights off. Let's see. Whoop. And it's pretty dark. And then I can come here and turn the lights on, and it's all lit up. So once again, manipulating the lighting. That's why I wanted to show you this at night, because there's a lot of cool features about the lighting systems here of this clickable module that are pretty neat. So I've went ahead and turned those lights on. I've closed the crew door. It's pretty much all I can do at this station, at the Loadmaster station. So I'm going to switch to the cargo ramp station. All right, I'm in the back of the aircraft looking forward. I've got a parachute door to the right. I got a parachute door, or a parachute door to the left, parachute door to the right with Creepy Guy. I call him Creepy Guy. He's really scary, freaks me out. I don't know why he's there, but anyway, especially in the dark, really, really bad. Okay, so I'm going to come over here to the cargo door ramp station. I don't know what else to call this. So I've got my tracker, I've rotated my head all the way to the left, and this is the pump. So you got to turn the pump on, left click. When this gets to about 1500 pressure, I don't know what the units are. I'm really sorry. I need to do more research into this. But when you get to about 1500, it seems you can then manipulate the door. So I'm going to go ahead and first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to close the ramp by left clicking. Ramp is closing. You can see that all the way up. And ramp is closed. And then I'm going to close the door by left clicking. Door closing. I think that's closed. Let's try again. Door closed there. Okay. And then here's an interesting fact. The left parachute door is actually manipulatable, if that's a word, with a mouse click. So if you right click, the door will shut. There is no clickable piece to this right parachute door with Creepy Guy. So the only way to close this door is to use the hotkey, and by default it's left alt delta, left alt D. I'll click that and you can see Creepy Guy disappears, thank God, and the door shuts. Now this left alt D can actually manipulate both doors. So if I hit left alt D, you'll see this door opens with Creepy Guy back. Holy crap. And then we're gonna go ahead and hit left D or left alt D again, and the doors close. So this is clickable, manipulatable individually, separate from this door. And I don't know why. Maybe they were just trying out some things, seeing if they could actually manipulate a door with a click, and it works great. So you can manipulate this with the mouse click, and you need to go left alt delta to close this door and get rid of Creepy Guy, who scares the living hell out of me, and he's gone now. Thank you. So that's all there is to it here. So we've closed all the doors. We got the ramp shut, the parachute door shut, the crew entrance door shut. So we're going to head back to the cockpit now. And the final thing we need to do, so first of all, one thing I should have done, oh gosh, before engine startup, I should have set the parking brake. This is kind of tricky. I'll show you how to do it. So I've got rudder pedals with toe brakes, and I've got it configured. And the only issue with this module that I found is that the rudder pedals and the toe brakes aren't modeled. So right now I'm pushing on my toe brakes and moving my rudder right or left. It manipulates the nose wheel steering wheel, but it doesn't show that the rudder pedals are moving. I don't know why. I think that's something they need to fix. But anyway, rest assured that when I do move my rudder pedals right and left it is manipulating the rudder, and the toe brakes are working. So what I want to do is to set the parking brake. I'll engage my toe brakes. I will left click, release the toe brakes. I'm holding, and then I'm going to release the left click, and it sets the brake. Okay, there's two ways to release the brake. One is if I simply pump my toe brakes, ready? Boom, 1, 2, that drops the brake. So hold my toe brakes, pull back on the brake, release the toe brakes, and then release the brake. That engages the brake. And the other way you can release a brake is to simply left click on the brake. So once again, I want to engage the brake prior to start, which I should have done before. Toe brakes engaged, pull back, release toe brakes, holding, and releasing the parking brake. So now my parking brake is engaged. I've got my lights set. The final thing you want to do is you want to actually turn off your, you don't need the APU anymore. So power is coming from the engines themselves. So we're going to hit stop on that, and we're going to hit off on that. And once again, I'm connected to ground power. So right before I leave, I'm going to ask the ground crew to turn off the ground power. So F2 on that one.
Copy.
And I'm looking, and once again, wonderfully modeled. Light is off, ground power is off. So I'm running off the engines. All the numbers look good. Parking brake is on, internal lighting set, all the doors are closed, and I am now ready to taxi and take off from the runway. We will do that in a future video. I hope this was helpful in getting the aircraft configured, the startup checklist, pre-taxi, getting all the doors closed and everything ready to go. In the next video, we'll walk through a taxi and a takeoff and some of the really cool features of this plane where you can actually get information about your V-speeds as far as rotation, climb, and it calculates it based on weight. It's really cool. We're going to talk about it in a future video. For right now, thanks for watching. This is Crimson. Appreciate it. Take care and happy flying. Talk to you later.